1944. That's what I figured. Exactly 70 years ago.
It went out to the day.
WWII.
To the day.
That's tough.
Play something.
Here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the fun show here at Big TV once again. I'm only giggling here because once again we spent 15 minutes before the show rehearsing various songs that were going to be played, and then of course we get one that was never ever approached before. So,
I have these untrained fingers. That's what it is. I can't control them.
I don't know why we spend the time rehearsing, but it's all right.
It's an inspirational moment.
So we get the battle cry of freedom, and that's probably, I can make that appropriate if I work hard on it.
Good segue here.
Because this is a very special edition of the fun show here tonight. Because you will notice that the table is somewhat enlarged. So we have Mike Sallen, our host and maestro of the keyboard. We have Kiera Miner down at the end. I'm Arch O'Riley. And to my left tonight, I am very pleased to say, is Ben Franco, who is a candidate for the Brookline Board of Selectmen in an election that I trust you're all going to go out and vote in.
May 6th.
A week from tomorrow. And there are 4 candidates. You vote for 2 of them. And we have invited Ben here as a breath of fresh air in the town of Brookline to discuss with him the town election and the Board of Selectmen and some of the things that are facing the town. So, Ben, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. And
you said that. I didn't say that. Okay.
The truth comes out.
Okay.
No.
I like
nice.
him.
Michael,
I like him.
Michael has decided to play his
too.
usual
I like you.
curmudgeon character.
Yeah,
again
okay.
today, the curmudgeon. Well, first of all is the fact that I admire anyone who puts forth the effort to run to do the business of our town, because we are a town. We are an institution run by the citizens as pretty much as directly as you can in what is left of our democracy, rapidly
If you're going the
becoming
right
an
way on a
oligarchy.
one-way street, sure.
And,
yeah. Okay.
You know, they're not going one way on our street
No,
much
they're
anymore.
not
You notice
anymore.
that?
But that's the problem.
Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway,
He's
stay,
here.
stay focused.
Kira,
Yes.
You have
Why
one?
don't you
I had
start
a
us up?
question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thanks for being here, Ben.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You gotta liven things up around here. So my question to you is, what is your inspiration for doing this? What do you hope to bring to this role should you be successful?
Well, thank you for the question. I grew up in town, grew up on Amory Street and went all through the public schools and have been involved in civic affairs in various capacities for a number of years now. I've sat on the finance committee for the town and was a town meeting member and have been involved in the political process for much of my life, along with Arch and my father and a number of other dedicated individuals. So what I really hope to give back is to give back to a community that's given me so much. You know, I had a great childhood, a great education here, and I want to see that opportunity available to others, other young people and residents of the town.
Some of the old timers will more recognize the term advisory committee.
Yes.
Which it's one of the things in the town form of government across the state, the interchangeable use of finance committee and advisory committee.
Yes.
But the advisory committee has long been the leadership bullpen of the town of Brookline.
Well, it's a group of dedicated citizens.
Yes, I was the chairman of public safety and the chairman of schools.
And then you wised up and got off the committee.
It burned me out. It burned me out.
Well, I spent 5 years there and concluded my service by being the chair of the Administration and Finance subcommittee.
Yes, very good. So my school's background leads me to inquire about what I think is one of the vexing and pressing issues of the town, and that is how we're going to react to the school population bulge that has occurred, not as some people think in the last 2 years, but in the last 5 to 7 years.
Exactly. We've seen a 35% increase in the public school population since 2005. And it's something that we as a community have been dealing with for 6 or 7 years now. And there's no easy way to deal with it. We've gone through the exercise of converting underutilized space or space that wasn't directly used as classroom space into the classroom space, and now we've got to expand our schools and build more classroom space. And the way that we as a community have decided to do that is to explore the possibility of an override, a tax increase.
Now, Mike, of course, would say there's still broom closets left that can be converted, and we don't need any new
Open
schools.
fields.
As a matter of fact, Michael wants to turn the studio we're sitting into
classroom space.
Into classroom space.
Of course, yeah.
And so he's very good at playing devil's advocate. But one of the reasons I emphasize the fact that this is not something that just sprung up overnight is some of the people who are scared by the prospect of paying higher costs to educate our students and therefore maintain the property values of the town of Brookline are saying that we're being hasty in our solutions. I think that we're probably being exactly or have been exactly the opposite, if anything. While there clearly has been a lot of study and consideration gone, my only complaint is that there has not been a successful effort, not to say that it hasn't been enough, but a successful effort to explain the parameters of this problem to the citizens of the town. So what are the, I'm not going to ask you what your solution is.
Okay,
Because
I don't have a miracle solution
Well,
for
you
you.
take over one of the parks and you put up a building, a school building on it. What's wrong with that? And I would take the one that all the dogs use. That's the one I would.
Somebody's going to be
It's
disgruntled
toxic
with that.
already. We could dig it up and put the building there.
We had a conversation about that last summer, and we decided as a community that that wasn't the right way to go.
Oh, okay.
can we get the Mohegan Sun to build it for us? I think. I mean, the citizens of Revere are talking about the brand new high school that they're getting from Mohegan Sun already, and they haven't been awarded anything. So
That's right.
Maybe
good
we
sales
should
pitch.
maybe we should be pitching for a casino on Putterham.
We
or
thought
something.
traffic was bad enough already. Wait till we open the slot parlor.
Traffic. Let's.
What if we could rent a building from Boston, right across the Jamaica way there? It might be a nice big building we could use.
I don't know which building you're talking about, but
Well, I mean, would they be interested?
I will tell you that we're renting space right now to house our preschool programs. The BEEP program is in synagogues and in schools that are not owned by the town right now.
Yeah,
that's how bad the space crunch is.
When do we build up? Can we just go up? Just add some floors on some buildings?
Well,
I don't think that structurally the buildings would probably be too
Alright.
set for
We're
that.
not
That
engineers.
was the extent of my contribution to this
All right, that's
discussion.
not bad.
Say,
Okay.
I'm old-fashioned enough to think that Brookline students should go to school in Brookline.
Okay.
But I'm not hypocritical about it because I'm willing to pay for Brookline students to go to school in Brookline.
town, yeah.
It's a total mystery to me where all these new people are living. But that's more a sociological question. My own feeling is there hasn't been enough new construction in the town to explain it, but I think we must be having a turnover of long-term empty nesters who are now turning their property over to people who are still willing to pay an arm and a leg to move into Brookline in order to have their children in a good school district. The one observation I would make to you folks is that the people who have been spending the money to acquire property in Brookline so their kids can go to school here have a lot of money.
Some of them have a lot of money. There's no doubt about that.
And I don't think that Michael's of the opinion, or expresses the opinion, whether he believes it or not, that he's still not convinced this is going to last. He somehow thinks that in a couple of years, all these children will disappear and we won't need them, and he doesn't want to build anything for the kids who are going to disappear.
Oh, they're not disappearing. It's going to keep growing. This isn't.
But what about double sessions? Nobody even talks about things like that.
School through the summer.
You know.
I don't know if you could see that he was smiling when he said that. I think so.
Well, I mean, I want to advance all the ideas that are possible.
Okay.
You know.
Look, we've had a number of conversations in town, and maybe we haven't done, we as a community haven't had done a good enough job of bringing everybody into the fold and having the holistic conversation that needs to occur. But I can tell you that when I sat on the advisory committee, we had conversations about double sessions. We had conversations about sort of a split schedule, a way to get kids in the morning and make later in the afternoon, and make sure that the building was utilized throughout the day instead of between the hours of 8 and 2.
Which is double sessions, right?
Yes, that's
very good. You
okay.
get extra points for
All
that.
right.
The interesting thing is that those old timers of us, we had better communication in the town in the old days. Now, in theory, everybody is in instant communication with each other. You wonder about that when you see kids sitting there tweeting each other in the same room.
Right.
But theoretically, everything is instant communication. The news cycle is 15 seconds, and et cetera. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think the town can compete with that. And we used to have 2 newspapers in town that everybody read.
Right.
So the people who would attend advisory committee meetings or school committee meetings or things, they may be well informed about this. But the people who will be ultimately asked to vote on it, I don't think have any inkling of what's going on.
Well, I can tell you, I've knocked on over 1,000 doors over the past 5 months in my campaign for selectmen.
How many opened?
Well, not as many as I would have liked.
Have you been tweeting and
I've been tweeting.
Facebooking?
I've got a Twitter handle. It's Ben for Selectmen, and a website. It's benfranco.org, and been trying to be out there, appearing at events, and educating people and letting people know where I stand on the issues, and trying to make sure that they're active, engaged citizens.
And do you find that they're well informed on this and other issues of the town?
I think they are informed to the extent that they have read the tab that week, but maybe don't know the full backstory or the machinations that different ideas and proposals have gone through. But on the whole, I'm always impressed by the amount of knowledge and dedication of the citizens of Brookline.
Well, they have the advantage because they get to pick the topic.
They do.
So they bring up the topic that they're passionate about.
Exactly.
And so I guess the next interesting, useful question is, out of this survey of the voters of Brookline,
Yes.
What other topics seem to be recurrent?
Well, there's a number of topics which are specific to neighborhoods, but the other sort of town-wide topic is development. People are concerned about tear downs and rebuilding of homes that
They want more, they want less. They want more in somebody else's neighborhood and less in theirs.
They always want more in somebody else's neighborhood, but they're concerned about losing the character of the town.
Right.
And seeing old homes which were beautiful and not up against the lot lines being torn down in favor of building a structure that's right up against their property lines and maybe has 2 units and isn't as attractive.
So there doesn't seem to be a widespread passion to increase the tax base of the town.
I think everybody's in favor of increasing the tax base.
Somewhere else.
It's how you do it.
Somewhere else.
Exactly. Exactly.
You could have more kids selling newspapers on the street there. No?
I may be the only person under the age of 60 that still reads a paper in its physical
I read
form.
papers.
So it's you and me.
He reads papers.
Yes,
so-
and he cuts them up and he brings them in here in case we run out of things to talk
I mean,
about.
I'm going to plaster the walls here with these papers. Let me.
I don't think even a kid could make a living selling street corner newspapers.
What about
these days.
noisy college students?
Okay, pet peeve.
Noisy college students.
So I grew up on Amory Street, which
Okay,
is
well,
for the viewers that may not know where Amory Street is. It's between Beacon and Commonwealth, right where the ski market was on Com Ave, right on the border of town with Boston University. And
Right between our original
Let him go on.
our original studio and Amory Park.
exactly.
Right.
So I slept in the front of the house and heard the students cutting across Nivet Park down Amory Street to get to Com Ave to do whatever they were doing at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Meaning that from Thursday to Monday you didn't sleep much in the front of the house.
Very, very true. And I sat down with people from Precinct 8, which is the Elba Street and right around Dexter Park
Yeah.
and Amory Park, and well versed on the concerns that they have about enforcement of loud parties, enforcement of no more than 4 people living in a single unit. It's a concern.
Precinct 9 would tell
It's
you.
a concern, but do you have any ideas to make this thing better, improve things for everybody?
We've got a bylaw in town now that fines students who have loud parties and actually fines the landlords who rent to these students. That's
How much
one.
is the fine?
It escalates.
It escalates. I think
Where does it begin?
I think it begins at $50.
Okay.
And goes up from there, of course.
I think it caps at 500, if I remember correctly. But
I take your word for it. It's been. I've never gotten a ticket, so I can't swear.
well, we're in a neighborhood with lots of BU students.
Yes.
One year we had the BU hockey team next to us, which was
Great
exciting.
neighbors.
Yes, they were interesting.
You can chart the success of the team based on the
Even
noise.
at my age, I was envious of their parties.
See, if you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
You should
I
just
have to
jump
have a
into those
parking
parties.
sticker in the park in front of my house
That's
a
right.
couple of hours. What about that?
Here's an interesting thing.
What
which-
amendment is that?
What, the parking sticker
Yeah.
thing? At least we have them now. Thank you, Marty.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, go
All right,
ahead.
you did it. You blew it out of my mind, so
You'll
I
find
can't
it
follow
again.
up.
It'll come
we
back.
have another bylaw.
Yes.
And have
We
had
have
for
several
many-
bylaws.
We have
With
a lot
more
of,
than just 2.
We have a lot of bylaws.
You have a
but we
lot
have
of
another
bylaws.
bylaw related to this, which is the limit on the number of unrelated adults
Correct.
who can occupy a
A
unit.
single unit.
Is there any evidence that that bylaw is enforced in any part of the town? Because it's certainly not in our neighborhood.
I'm going to go with no on
Well, the
that.
post office won't enforce it. We know that.
Right. I don't know if a ticket's ever been written or enforcement action has ever been taken.
I suspect it hasn't.
You may be right.
And the thing is, bylaws which are not enforced, like all laws which are not enforced, are counter beneficial.
They cheapen the.
I mean, the thing is, there's not a unit in our immediate vicinity which has less than 6 college students in it, and there are ones with more.
Oh, right.
Why don't you report them then?
Well, it
You're just
doesn't.
telling them for their parties now. You need to
Well, we
drag the
tell the
police over
police.
there,
It
knock
doesn't-
on the door, and say,
Yeah.
"There is
It doesn't
6
do any
people
good.
living in this house."
In the old days, and which is not even that long ago, say 10 years ago,
I'm old.
they used to list 4 people and then say, also accepting male 4, and then list 3 or 4 other names
Okay.
on the thing. They don't even bother to do that now. The names are all on the mailboxes. I mean,
Yeah, but the mailman won't deliver to 12 people in one apartment.
Sure he will.
mailman will deliver to whatever it's
He doesn't
addressed
care.
He throws it on the steps there.
to. They call that delivery.
Thanks. All right. Airmail.
That's like the tab, which throws their newspaper on the public way in direct violation of the town's anti-littering bylaw, which strangely enough is
Can you fix
enforced
that,
by
Ben?
the Board of
Can you
Health.
fix that, please?
What was that about the Board
Sorry.
of Health?
The littering bylaw is enforced by the Board of Health.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, I don't quite understand that.
I
But
don't understand it either. Okay.
Because littering can be, what, toxic or...
They probably have the
You
most
know.
bodies and able to enforce it, you know?
There you have it.
Except for the police department.
well, the police department has a few bodies.
They've got a couple.
all
a couple.
set on things. Now, did you enjoy the marathon, sir?
I did enjoy the marathon.
Yes.
Did you watch
you
or
gotta
run?
pronounce that guy's winner's name. Meb?
Meb Keflezighi, the winner.
Right.
The first winner in American winner in 30
American winner
years.
since 1938.
31 years.
31 years.
31 years.
Boy.
And
And I was pulling for Shalane Flanagan, but she just
Yes.
couldn't make it happen.
did you notice who the Grand Marshal was?
I
It was
didn't.
Bill Rogers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes,
good
Bill
man.
Rogers
All right,
rode
he's all
through.
right.
Boston
That was-
Billy.
Boston
Boston
Billy.
Billy.
And I remember Boston Billy was on the rise when I started going out to the marathon about 48 years ago.
Well, you're going to date yourself, I was
On
going to say.
things- oh, I don't mind dating myself. It's,
What's impact analysis? You said that's what you do at Harvard.
Oh, okay. Going to change topics totally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mike is the master of segues.
Yes.
You
That
can
was
break
segue
your
art.
neck.
Non sequiturs.
You can break your neck.
So I work now for Harvard University. I do the economic impact analysis for the
Okay.
university. Demonstrate the value of Harvard to Boston, to Cambridge, to Eastern Massachusetts.
And Alston, Brighton.
I attempt to demonstrate why Harvard matters to Alston and Brighton. Correct.
Did you know that fellow McCluskey?
It has to matter to Alston. It owns Alston.
There was a
Much
big
of
guy
Alston's
named
true.
McCluskey who used to.
Kevin McCluskey, yeah, he was a longtime Harvard employee.
Yeah.
He now works for the MWRA, the Massachusetts Water Resource Authority.
Was he a quarterback?
Yes, I think he was, but he's a big.
You know, an interesting fact about Kevin McCluskey, he was on the Boston School Board when there was the busing.
I know of him.
One of the youngest members of the school board in the history
Right.
of the city,
Maybe
and not
his-
in an easy time.
Wow.
Maybe his son was the Harvard quarterback.
Well, anyways, that's what you do, and you help out with this other campus they're putting up in Alston, Brighton, near Harvard. Is that it?
It's in it. Yeah, we've got some development proposals for Alston. It's an exciting time. Had a master plan approved there just in the fall.
I wish people, our audience knows that both Mike and I are true blue or true crimson Harvard men. But I wish people would realize that what Harvard has done is to construct a whole new housing village to replace one of the seediest subsidized housing units that existed in the town.
You're talking about the Charlesview development.
Yes.
Which Harvard actually didn't construct. It was a land swap. But the point still stands.
The point being that they replaced the housing for the thing that they wanted to get rid of. And the essentially prefab low-end subsidized housing that will eventually disappear was not fit for human occupation.
Toxic housing, asbestos was there. It was rodents. It was not a good place to call home.
And the new development is very attractive.
Beautiful, Brighton Mills.
Very
the viewers
attractive.
may know that from where the
Yes.
Kmart was and the
Yes.
McDonald's right on Western
That's
Avenue.
right. Some of us still miss the Kmart movies.
Yeah, that was all right. It was,
But it had a very nice dress shop there. But
So you look at me. You're looking at me now.
You're the
I'm
only-
allowed to contribute.
you're the only one sitting at this panel who wears dresses.
How do you know if I wear dresses?
she's
You've never
wearing a
seen me
pantsuit
wear
tonight, in
dress.
case you don't know it.
You're more likely to wear a dress than I am.
You know what?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
You look good in a pantsuit, too.
Would you like to enlighten me?
No, you know what? I will wear a dress on occasion.
Okay.
I don't like being pigeonholed over here.
Is that pigeonholed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You know, you haven't paid me any attention this entire show.
Yes.
Ben's been hogging the spotlight.
Yes.
I've had no time, and then you look at me
Well, he
regarding
won't put
dresses.
on a dress for crying out loud.
You wanted to be in on this show.
I know, and I'm left off
And
on the
she's
side.
reconsidering it right now.
Oh my
let me
goodness,
tell
I
you.
got shoved off to the end, and you know.
Okay, Kiera, as a person who doesn't have to vote in this election,
Yes.
do you think you'd vote for Ben?
Absolutely. Now, viewers, you've not seen his socks, okay? I've seen Ben's socks. He's got the coolest socks on. If it were appropriate, I would get him to show you his socks. But based on his socks alone, I would
You'd
vote
vote
for
for
him.
him.
I would
I
vote for him
like
hands
that,
down.
Ben.
We don't have an Ellen DeGeneres foot cam here.
No. Well, next time.
Next
What,
time.
Next
what
time.
makes you different from the other people who are running in this race?
Well-
was there any special?
It's always bad form to criticize your opponents.
Oh, well, okay. In a positive way. I mean,
Well,
there
there's
must-
one veteran, experienced candidate, and 3 essentially first-timers. One of them I vaguely remember running before, but it was didn't make much of an impact. And I won't specify who that is.
Okay.
Well, it's okay. You know, it's important to know who the competition is.
So I'll say that I think I've got a broader set of experiences than at least 2 of the other
Sounds like it
candidates.
to me, Ben.
I worked for the state for several years, something we haven't talked
Yeah.
about yet. Was the legislative director and budget director for a state senator. And at a time when we as a community are going to the state for additional resources, whether it's school building authority assistance to help with expansion and renovation of schools, advocating for additional local aid, or Chapter 90 money, which is road for sidewalk and road improvements, street improvements, or Chapter 70 money, which is educational aid. I think it's important to have somebody that knows the state systems, got some experience, knows the personalities, and I think I bring that experience to the board, which 2 of the other candidates certainly don't have.
You know what curtains the levers are behind?
Well, I won't go that far, but I certainly know where the levers may be hiding.
But I'm glad to hear we have somebody running for the school committee that really knows numbers about
No,
The
he's
Board of
running for
Selectmen.
selectmen.
I'm not foolish enough to run for school committee.
When you were doing numbers for the school committee,
I was for the finance committee for the town, the
finance
advisory
committee. Well, I'm getting
You
closer.
were warmer each time, Mike.
Yeah.
Each time.
Michael always thinks schools. I'm not sure if we told you, but Michael's an old headmaster.
Yes, in the Boston public school system.
Yes, so he's always got schools
Yeah,
on
well,
his
what
mind.
about
It's important.
How do you feel about the affirmative action and the Supreme Court? Is that anything to do with running for this office?
Are you talking about the recent decision about college admissions?
Or you
Thankfully, that's
think
an issue I
it's
don't
a
have to
moot
touch.
subject, you know?
Guys, college admissions is something that I don't deal with in the Board of Selectmen, but certainly an
Well,
important
all the
issue.
kids that Brookline is sending to school, I'd say the majority of them are expecting to go to college. Would you agree with that?
We have high expectations in Brookline, but
Yeah,
there are,
okay.
of course, a number of different options for people after graduating from high school.
True. There
Very
should
true.
be. There should be. Okay.
He's
All
not
right.
going to be trapped to say that
No.
you have to go into college, although we have a impressively high rating.
We do, and we're sitting in a building where we do vocational or career education.
Some, yes, some.
Okay.
Many years ago, I used to keep my racing car in the basement of this, and the kids would tear it apart and rebuild it between races, and then the best kids in that period of time would get to come and be on the pit crew for the race. Those are the old days. One of my accomplishments was getting girls into shop and boys into homemaking years ago when I was president of the PTO, and I regret the fact that neither of those programs exist anymore.
In the elementary schools.
In the elementary schools, yes. They still, fortunately, teach them to saw a violin, but they don't get to saw any wood.
Yeah.
Let him say a few more words, you know.
This is your final minute
You got
to make a
one,
plug,
two sentences. you can-
Two sentences. Well, you know, I'm running for Board of Selectmen. My name is Ben Franco. The election is May 6th. It's a week from tomorrow as we film this. And I would love to have your support. I ask for your vote. benfranco.org is the website. Ben@benfranco.org is my email address, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that we haven't touched upon now. And look forward to seeing you at the polls on May 6th.
Very good, very good. Get out there and vote, folks. So this is goodbye from the Fun Show for this week. We will say good night. Good night, Irene.
Are we going to sing to her? You were trying to get out of it.
We don't have time.
Good night,
Irene. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. We'll see you in our dreams. See you next week at the Fun Show on Big TV.